Welcome, welcome, welcome. Toastmasters from near and far, our speech contestants. Do we have any honored guests here tonight?
All
of them are guests. All of them are guests. Welcome to the Toastmasters District 19 Area 92 Spring Contest, April 1st, 2014. My name is Monty Congdon, and I'm the Sergeant at Arms this evening. And it's my pleasure and honor to introduce our contest chair, Scott Terry.
No!
Thank you, Monty. I'd like to honor our distinguished dignitary, our Assistant Area Governor, Don Wadley. Thank you, Don. We are set for some fun tonight. And things keep changing by the moment. It makes it even more entertaining. The first contest is the table topics. Earlier, the contestants drew lots to determine their speaking order. And the contestants will be Don Wadley, Ben Tressel, and Stephen Harper in that order.
Repeat it.
Again, number one, the lots that were drawn tonight were for Don Wadley as number one. Number two, Ben Tresdell. Did I say that? Tresdell?
Traxel.
Trexel.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're
Trexel. And number three, Stephen Harper.
Yay!
I will now welcome the Chief Judge, Art Atkinson, to explain to us the rules of judging.
Thank you, Mr. Contest Chair, and welcome guests. Good evening. My name is not Diane Denbaum, unfortunately. Art Atkinson is my name. As Chief Judge of this contest, I confirm that we have unequal judging representation in the room, and the judges have discussed it, and it is acceptable with the judges. The judges have been briefed, and I believe the timers and ballot counters also. Is that correct? That's been done? And are fully aware of their responsibilities. In addition, the contestants and the contest Sergeant at Arms have met for a briefing regarding the rules and procedures of this contest. I'd like now for the Chief Timer to please review the timing procedures for this contest for the benefit of the contestants and observers.
Thank you, Chief Judge. Table topics contest. The timing will begin with the contestant's first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. This will usually be the first word uttered by the contestant, but would also include any other communications such as sound effects, a staged act by another person, etc. Speech length is 2 minutes. A contestant will be disqualified for speaking less than 1 minute or more than 2 minutes, 30 seconds. The green light will be turned on at 1 minute. The yellow light will be turned on at 1 minute, 30 seconds. And the red light will be turned on at 2 minutes and remain on until the speech ends. Any speech contestant is disqualified whose presentation time is less than the minimum time or more than the maximum time just noted, which is less than 1 minute or 2 minutes and 30 seconds. No signals shall be given to indicate that a presentation has gone into overtime or that it is under time. In the event of a technical failure of lights, we have these green card, this card, which was also green, yellow, and red. And if that happens, we have to switch to the cards. The contestant who's speaking will be allowed 30 extra seconds of overtime before being disqualified. So they could speak for 2 minutes and 30 seconds and still not be disqualified. We also have, we have these green cards in case the timing lights fail. But this is brand new. I don't think it does. All right, Mr.
Thank you, Chief Time. As Chief Judge, I remind everyone in the room, if it's necessary to leave, do so please only during the 1 minute judging periods. And let's now all take care of devices that make noise. Put them on silent, please. If it's necessary to leave, please do so only during the 1 minute periods of silence during which the judges are deliberating and marking their balance. The Sergeant at Arms will allow re-entry during a subsequent 1 minute period. Additionally, please maintain silence during the 1 minute periods to give the judges time to mark their balance without disturbing them. If anyone, well, we've just dealt with the pager cell phones issue. Are they now all off? Additionally, no picture taking during the contest. There will be an opportunity for pictures to be taken during the interview sessions that immediately follow each of the contests. If there is a protest regarding originality or eligibility of any contestant, only the judges may. Protests are limited to judges and the contestants, and they need to be made to either me or to the contest chair prior to us announcing any winners. Now, for the table topics contest, our contest chair will review the procedure of the competition. Scott.
I will read the question twice as the contestant reads along. After the card is handed back, I will go to the chair. The contestant may begin answering the question. Our Sergeant at Arms will have that we will eject out.
Escort.
Escort. I like ejecting. We'll escort out our two contestants, and our first contestant, Don Wadley, will come to the stage. Again, I will read the question twice as the contestant reads along. After they hand me back the question, they can begin. It can take up to 30 seconds before. Okay. Sergeant at Arms, Monty Cognan, please escort Ben and Stephen. Please come on up. All right, here is your question. Your mission is to go back and start your life over. Name one thing you would do differently. Tell us how and why. Again, your mission is to go back and start your life over. Name one thing you would do differently. Tell us how and why. Thank you, Don.
How often does a person get a chance to start over? How often? I feel like I've got another chance to do it. At what point? At what point in your life? Is it when you're a kid? And you're climbing up that tree? Up to your favorite hiding place? Or is it when you are at your first dance? Or are you going to go back to your graduation day, when you played the trombone solo? Or maybe you're going to go back to your freshman year in college, and you've just discovered that life is not the same in that little town of 166 people that you grew up in, and that you were a son of the science and math teacher, and you were expected to be the brightest person in the whole world, the one who's going to succeed at the most technical thing there is. which in my case was going to be civil engineering. So I went to the South Dakota School of Mines, and there I ran into another fellow who happened to be, not my roommate, but he lived across the hall. And he was just dropping out of being an electrical engineer, and he was going to the University of South Dakota to be an anthropologist. I should have joined him. I should have joined him because I'm now finding that the things that are really important to me in my life are things that involve people, and that involve working with people, studying people, especially groups of people. And I would love to be out in the Rift Valley of Africa and finding even more people. Mr. Toastmaster.
Take a moment, judges, to fill out your ballots. All right, and we're back. Ben, please come on up.
May I have the spelling for the name?
Ben's last name is spelled.
Traxel, just like Steve Traxel, the bad Cubs pitcher. He's my sixth cousin.
Oh, okay. Spell your name, please. So our
Trachsel.
It's amazing that you actually know this, Ben. Very impressive.
I know how to spell my name?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, absolutely. All right, Ben, are you ready?
No.
Okay,
Go ahead.
All right, either way. Your mission is to go back and start your life over. Name one thing you would do differently. Tell us how and why. Your mission is to go back and start your life over. Name one thing you would do differently. Tell us how and why. You bet.
Thank you, Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. One thing I would do different, right off the bat, I've thought about this a lot. When I came home that morning at 2 a.m., I would not have kicked that bucket down the stairs in the dark. Thank you. That aside, what I would do differently, I'm assuming by the question I get all the knowledge I have right now. Well, obviously, I would have not just assumed I was immortal from an early age and waited till now. I would have worked out more when I was a kid, probably gone out for baseball in college instead of playing rugby so that I'd be able to walk normal and all that good stuff. Had a good major league contract as a relief pitcher for a while. And then I could have retired to someplace warm. Think about it. It works. You get to play outside. You get to work where it's warm. You get to meet lots of nice people without joining Toastmasters. Not that I don't like joining Toastmasters, but being a Major League Baseball player really has its advantages. That's one thing I could do. And I had the ability to do it. We all do. We all have abilities if you just start early and focus. I didn't have any focus at all when I was a kid. So in summary, what I would do, I would focus on staying in shape, not assuming I was immortal. And what I meant by that remark was, I didn't have to work out when I was young. I'd get injured, bounce back like that, all the way up to about age 48. And then when I hit 55, things went downhill. Then when you hit 60, 65, things really start, ask Santa Claus, they start to power down. That's what I would do. I would focus, I would work out more, and I would have gone out for baseball at Iowa instead of playing rugby. Back to you, Mr. Tabletop Master.
Yo!
Very fun. Judges, please take a moment, 1 minute of silence. Timer, please time. And welcome back. We now have our third Table Topics contestant of the evening, Stephen Harper. Come on up, Stephen. Hello, Stephen. Your question for tonight is, your mission is to go back and start your life over. Name one thing you would do differently. Tell us how and why. Your mission is to go back and start your life over. Name one thing you would do differently. Tell us how and why. And good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home, and honored guests, what we make of our lives is what we bring to them. What I would do differently in my life, if I could relive it, is to always be a channel of divine intelligence and spirit. I don't know how I would accomplish that, but that would be what I would want to do. Because it is in living from our joy, it is living from the depths of our souls, it's living from the depth of our being that we align ourselves with the will of the Almighty. And my individual will brought me no happiness. So I would serve God. I would serve God from the day I was born until the day I die. That would be my joy. That would be my pleasure. Because I find that when I surrender to the Spirit within me, everything flows so effortlessly, so perfectly, so beautifully. And I feel like I'm walking on air. I feel so happy, so good, so full of joy. I can see in a lot of people's eyes here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. How many people here know what I'm talking about? Almost everybody. Look at all those hands. So we have this opportunity right now, every one of us, to choose to live a divine life. A life of purity, a life of greatness, a life of love, a life of joy, a life that we always imagined and that God imagined for us. Thank you.
Timer, may we have 1 minute of silence? Judges, please complete your ballots and hold them up for the ballot counters to collect. Ballot counters, please. Yep. Chief Judge, do you have all the ballots? Or your ballots are all collected for you?
Ha!
I know for sure.
Ballot counters and the Chief Judge are out of the room. I'd now like to invite all three tabletop contestants for a short interview. And then after which, we will get into the munchies. Munchies. Food is a good thing, everyone. Remember that. Come on up.
Yo! Got to get in front of the camera. We can't see you.
Come on up.
No, you should come first. That's okay. I'm not used to this.
All right. Santa. Don, I'd like to ask you, what do you find inspiring in your life?
I'm retired. So that means that when I started out retirement, it was yard work, model trains, genealogy, and public speaking. Now that I've been retired a few years, it's napping, long car rides, grandkids, and public speaking.
Anything else?
I'm I'm too old to think of things like that.
There you go. You mastered it. Congratulations.
Aw.
You've inspired us all. Ben, introduce yourself to the group and tell us one thing that makes you either unique or important that we should know about you.
I like this question.
I'm sure you do.
Well, there's not anything really unique or important about me. That's the first thing you know. We're all just people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unique. Oh, jeez. Boy, I don't have a clue.
We noticed.
Thank you. Yes. Something you don't know about me. I played rugby for the University of Iowa for several years. I did that back a long time ago, back when he was still chipping rocks, you know, right? Back in the early 70s. We beat Palmer twice. We had a coach from the New Zealand All Blacks who was very good. We didn't know anything, but he came and he taught us a lot. We had a lot of foreign players who played rugby. Us Americans, we learned from them, and it was just wonderful. Most fun I ever had. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. That's something that not everybody gets a chance to do, play with somebody of that quality. They were in the sports medicine program there, which if you've ever seen a rugby game, you know why they needed sports medicine. And that's about it.
I actually know something about a little bit because we were just in New Zealand a few years ago for our delayed honeymoon, and I started to learn a little bit about rugby. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. I still haven't played. I don't think she's going to ever let me play, but that's okay.
And the other thing, I think you've grown on for a while since you got me started. The thing about playing rugby is I became a soccer ref because of my kids, and there's similarities between soccer and rugby because the offside rules are sort of similar and stuff like that. And you forget yourself sometimes when you're reffing and you're running along with the players, and you got to stop yourself from getting involved. So that's kind of a challenge sometimes, but it's really fun to do that kind of thing.
Very fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
What's a New Year's resolution you wish you created for yourself, and how would you be able to achieve it?
A New Year's resolution that I wish I had created for myself.
Yes.
You're reminding me of all the ones that I created for myself that I have not fulfilled. One of them is to do a lot more public speaking. Another is to finish a book that I have almost started. A third one is simply to do everything I can to achieve my #1 goal in life, which is to become as enlightened a person as I can be. So I'll need more time to think of something that I haven't thought of yet.
And does this include not playing basketball anymore?
No, not at all, actually. And I did not set a resolution to exercise more, but I'm finding that I'm spontaneously doing it.
Yes.
I spend a lot of hours meditating every day. It helps me focus my life, and so all of that silence that gets imbued through the meditation needs to be integrated through very dynamic activity. So I found that playing basketball and getting in fights, where I got this cut in a basketball game last night. It wasn't a fight, but it is very grounding to really get, smacked. So anyway.
That's how you become enlightened.
Well, could be. Or lightheaded.
One of the two.
Or the other.
They're the same.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Right. We are now going to take a break. We have a 15-minute break to have some food.
Welcome back to our District 19, Area 92 Spring Toastmasters Contest. We just had an excellent trio of table topics. Well done. Tasty morsels. But those were just the appetizers, and we're about to get to the meat of the evening, the International Speech Contest. And it's once again, it's my pleasure to call Scott Terry, our contest chair.
Yo!
Thank you, Monty. And you watching at home, you missed it tonight. Unbelievable food. Monty's guacamole does the job.
Ha!
Welcome back, and we're now ready for the speech contest. For this contest, all the contestants may remain in the room. Earlier, the contestants drew lots to determine their speaking order. The order of the contestants will be Sean White and Seth Braun. Excuse me, that's Sean White and Seth Braun. For a review of the rules of the International Speech Contest, please welcome again our esteemed Chief Judge Art.
Thank you, Scott, Mr. Contest Chair. As Chief Judge of this contest, I confirm that we have appropriate judging representation for the area involved in the contest. The judges, timers, and ballot counters have been briefed, are fully aware of their responsibilities. Contestants and the Sergeant-at-Arms have met for a briefing regarding the rules and procedures of this contest. Now, would the Chief Timer please re-review the timing procedure?
For the International Speech Contest, timing will begin with the contestant's first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. This will usually be a word uttered by the contestant, but would also include other communications such as sound effects, a staged act by another person, etc. Speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. A contestant will be disqualified for speaking less than 4 minutes, 30 seconds, or more than 7 minutes, 30 seconds. The green light will be turned on at 5 minutes. The yellow light will be turned on at 6 minutes. And the red light will be turned on at 7 and remain on until the speech ends. In the event of a technical failure of the lights, I will use these cards. A contestant is allowed 30 seconds extra overtime before being disqualified. Nothing will be, if the contestant runs over 7 minutes and 30 seconds, nothing will be made, additional to let you know that, so the judges are not prejudiced. Mr. Chief Judge.
Thank you, Cindy. As Chief Judge, I remind all in the room, if it's necessary to leave, please do so only during the 1 minute of silence, which will be held following the speech for the judges to be marking their ballots. Sergeant-at-Arms will allow re-entry during the subsequent 1 minute period of silence. Additionally, please don't disturb the judges while they mark their ballots during that 1 minute period of silence. If anyone has turned on an electronic noise-making device, please turn it off now. No disturbance during the contest, nor pictures to be taken. There will be an opportunity for pictures during the interview sessions of the contestants following their speeches. Protests regarding originality or eligibility are limited to the judges and contestants and are made to me or to the contest chair prior to any announcement of winners. All contestants for this contest may remain in the room unless they choose to remain outside the room, and they have to notify the Sergeant-at-Arms to escort them out and escort them in when it's their turn to speak. Are there any questions? Mr. Contest Chair, we're now ready.
Good job, Zard Atkinson. Are there any questions at all? Great.
What is
Conte- Contestant 1, Sean White. Come on up, and we're going to move some things around for you. Sean White, your title of your speech is Raising Collies for Breeding. Raising Collies for Breeding. Sean White.
Thank you. Well, in my family, raising collies for breeding started with my sister. Went off in the country, driving my car, and I was with her, and she wanted a tricolor puppy, so she called around and found that there was a litter that had tricolor collies. So we looked through the litter together, and we chose together which collie to take home. And it so happened that because I had part in picking the collie, that I thought it was my responsibility to help train the collie. She didn't like that idea ultimately, and it came out a while later that she just kind of didn't like that. Anyway, I became partial trainer to that dog, and this will make sense in a little bit. This dog, I walked him with a leash, a short leash, and let me explain this a little bit. I thought I was the Antichrist at this time, okay? And the Antichrist doesn't have the desire of women, it says, okay? So I was training this dog. As if I was this general, I was wearing this general jacket, green jacket with, tassel holders, And we were that dog sitting another dog, and that male dog would just try to mount Joseph. And I'd make Joseph sit down every time he tried to do that. Well, finally, I decided to buy a dog myself, a female dog, so that she could be a mate to Collie, to let Joseph. But all of a sudden he died. Well, never having mated. I think I kind of took it out of him. Well, my collie, she got a hold of, a Jack Russell Terrier from the neighborhood came along and got her pregnant a couple times. And he'd turn up when they were a certain length of days, right about the time that they were weaned. And some of them were short-tailed, some were long-tailed, but they weren't pure collies. And ultimately, we wanted to sell pure collies. So my parents took over the business after she had several litters and ended up with mastitis and different types of problems. She had to be taken out of the breeding program, and ultimately we sold her. But my parents and I went and I found other collies. That one's name was Blinken that I got. It wasn't the most beautiful collie. It was an old collie, and it was the cheapest collie at the same place my parents were buying their dogs too. Okay, so this particular collie never mated ever with the male collie that we brought. And she even had she did mate once, but she had a false pregnancy. So if any of the collies, babies born, had a problem, she could nurse them, I guess. But that didn't really happen. So I was glad when she ran away and never came back. So this particular collie named, there was the first female collie that we actually had successful litters with. We had two. One's name was Ivana, I think it was. And the other's name was, if I can remember it doesn't matter. Anyway, so they had litters together, and we progressively grew more into, wanting to know the genetic characteristics of these dogs so that we could breed better dogs and be responsible breeders. And we actually had papers for them, and we would only sell dogs that were good for breeding purposes for somebody else to breed their dogs to, if they were of good breeding quality. And that was relative, if you will, of what we knew at the time. We bought some books, of course, and studied on the internet. Now, one of the traits that we discovered from the beginning, that's about 70% in all collies that are born in the United States. About 70% of them have what's called collie eye anomaly, and this particular handicap in this dog in the eyes is if it's missing certain rods. I think it is, the rods and cones in the eye. It's not progressive, so if they have it mildly, the dog will still see. It's not going to be a retinal detachment ultimately, or cause that. Howbeit, if we have a dog that we're trying to breed, we won't, which my Chica was, and we were actually going to breed her. They brought dogs for her to mate with. So she did have some pure collies, but she had collie eye anomaly severely. So we mated her toward a dog that was free of collie eye anomaly in order to make the breed better. So we allowed ourselves that privilege as new breeders. But as we progressed along, now my parents have different dogs that are free of collie eye anomaly. We don't even need to take them to the optometrist to get checked. And there's also a problem that's common to collies, and that is they're allergic to ivermectin. And that is a heartworm medicine. And if the dogs are certain collies, a certain percentage are allergic to that drug. That's a heartworm medicine. And actually, more recently, my parents have sold a dog to somebody else who treated their dog with ivermectin, and the dog died. It was a very sorrowful thing. And but I'd like to get into the different types of colors and traits of collies. First of all, to understand the basic science of genetics in a collie, there's dominant and recessive in certain things, and there's factoring in others. Where with you have what's called a rough collie, that's rough-coated collie, and you can also have a smooth-coated collie. Now, the smooth-coated collie is smooth-coated, and that's the dominant trait. In other words, it only needs to carry one of two traits. It can carry the rough collie gene genotypically, but only the rough coat, only the smooth coat will appear, no matter whether it's genotypic, whether it's only the one trait's there and not the other. Albeit, you can have white factoring, where it will show white partial on their body. They have white on a big white collar. They have a length. They have a patch on their back side. But if you have two genes for the white factoring, then it's actually a white collie, and the whole body is basically a white except for the head. It has whatever color it would be, like tricolor, trifactor, or whatever. And my time is up, so I hope I have pleased or satisfied my duty to share this.
We have a minute of silence while the judges complete the ballots. Hey, you interrupted my eating chips. Contestant 2, Seth Braun. Matthew Braun. How do you say inspired is the title of your speech? Let me repeat the title of your speech. How do you say inspired, Seth Braun?
I'm sorry, Mr. Braun, but you can't get in. Have you ever been rejected? Have you ever had the experience of failure or discouragement? Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, it was 1924. They had traveled for 5 weeks by horse carriage from the Volga River to London. Took a 30-day trip with stormy seas from London to New York. Otto Braun and Mary Braun. 8 kids, ages 10 to 6 months. And Otto Braun heard, "I'm sorry, Mr. Braun, but you can't get in." How do we stay inspired? How do you stay inspired when there are challenges, the inevitable obstacles to live your dream? And how do we get inspired to make a change in our life? And how do we stay inspired so we can persist and persevere to achieve those dreams? I was shocked when I actually sat down and wrote on what inspires me. I thought it would be money, or fame, or prestige, or comfort. And I think you'll be surprised at what I found as well. Otto Braun left the Volga on the border of Ukraine and Russia in 1924 for 2 reasons. And I think these are the same 2 reasons that motivate all of us to make a change. Pain and a compelling vision for something different. The pain of Mary Braun having the potatoes, the vodka, the rye bread, the lard forcibly removed by soldiers. And it wasn't like you could just go down to Hy-Vee and get some more potatoes and rye bread. You had to work for years sometimes to get these things. The toiling of the mill, the raising of the grain. The constricting vice of lessening religious freedoms for ethnic Germans living in Russia. And the threat of violence for anyone that was not Russian. Pain and vision. A vision of what's possible in America, the land of opportunity where the streets are paved with gold. How do we change vision and pain? But then how do we persist? How do we continue on in going for those streets of gold, the land of opportunity? When you meet an obstacle, when you're told, "I'm sorry, Mr. Braun, but you can't get in." And this is where I was surprised. I was surprised by what inspires me, past, present, and future. You see, I'm inspired by what my great-grandparents did in the past. And what that allows me to have in the present. And I'm inspired to be better and work harder, be of more integrity and elegance and dignity for what my kids can accomplish in the future. And I know it's cheesy and cliche, but I think, hey, the whole world is my family. And maybe if I do my work, the world will be a better place for everybody. How do we stay inspired? How do we stay inspired to change, and how do we stay inspired to persist? We stay inspired to change when there's enough pain that motivates us to change the status quo, and we have a compelling vision. And those two seem to be proportionate. The more the pain, the more compelling the vision. And how do we persist towards our dreams? How do we keep going? It's by having something greater than ourselves. And the thing that surprised me was how powerful my family is in keeping me inspired. So in closing, we have inspiration from our past. We all are here because somewhere in your ancestry and in your lineage, and your mother, your father, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-grandmothers, They sacrificed and worked hard. So we can be here in the present and enjoy this life. And likewise, ahead of us are our children and their children and the children of the world as one family. And that is how we stay inspired. Mr. Contest Chair. Yo!
Timer, may we have 1 minute of silence while the judges fill out their ballots. Chief Judge, do you have all the ballots and the timer's reports?
I have.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Judge. Great. Contestants, please come back to the stage for a short interview. Hi, Sean.
Hi there.
That was great. Tell us how you came up with your speech, and is there anything else you'd like to tell us if you had an extra minute? Or something important that you should maybe an extra hour.
Okay. Well, my grandpa was a biology professor at a college that became a university. And when it became a university, he actually got forced out because he didn't have the doctorate degree. They wanted high. And he could teach very well, but as far as putting it all together, he wasn't able to write a thesis in order to get his doctorate. So they kicked him out. But the interest was always there. He ended up teaching high school for a better wage than he was getting at the college. And he thought, if I'm a good teacher, I should be able to do that for younger people as well. And so he did that. And he taught some important things about biology. And that important thing has inspired me. In that particular grandpa, otherwise, I just, be fruitful and multiply. I think the animals should be able to be fruitful and multiply right along with humans, and in a good way. Knowing, I'm not talking about eugenics or anything, although that is common among animal breeding. In fact, I'm totally against human eugenics, whether it's abortion or anything like that. But, or else I would not think that I would ever marry myself. Probably, if I
But you love collies.
I love collies. They're a gentle dog.
So why should we love collies?
Well, I think you should love collies because they get along with children. They don't. You can train them not to bite, and they'll not bite. They're beautiful dogs. There's a variety in how you can. What results you can get. Let's say you have a dog that, collie ionam is not in its genes. Well, you can have a blue merle collie, as you can have sable merle. It's the same gene, but it's when it's white, when it's pure for sable, and it has the merling agent. It's not as visible later on in life. It's kind of blotchy coloration. But when it's blue merle, it's a tricolor, and a pure tricolor. 2 genes for tricolor, and 2 genes for 2 genes for one gene for blue merle, because the blue merle is another factor another thing that I forgot to mention, or just ran out of time.
That's okay. So anyway, thank you for. I wanted to personally thank you for inspiring. Both of you have been such inspirational. I had a dog when I grew up. It was called Cappy, for Captain of America.
Oh, wow.
And it was a miniature collie. And it was my favorite dog.
Yeah.
And so I want to personally thank you.
Yes.
Master Ron, is there anything else you'd like to have told us about your topic if you had more time? And what's behind your speech?
Well, Gene said, well, what happened? Did he make it to America? I'm assuming he did. And I kind of forgot. There was like 30 seconds in my speech there. And this was like gone. It happens sometimes. So that right about in the middle here, there was, and Otto Braun made it to America after 2 years in Mexico, building wagon wheels and cabinets and putting away cash. But how did he do it? How did he persist? And so that's the other piece that I would share, is that they had to go to Mexico for 2 years. And in Mexico, because he could make wagon wheels, and people were still using a lot of wagon wheels at the time, he was able to generate a nice little war chest that helped them when they did get into the U.S.
So what's behind this, behind your speech, behind this
What's behind of what's behind? Yeah. Basically, I just want to give speeches I'm interested in. Now, it's like, well, of course, but you think, I'm less interested in winning or being great. I'm much more interested in having a good time and having the experience be edifying for myself. And I'm really interested, I interviewed all my grandparents extensively before they passed away about their history. And I'm interested in keeping that alive. So I said, I'm just going to do speeches about my grandparents so that stays alive in me, so that I can keep it alive for my family. And they know where their ancestors and their lineage comes from. It's something I'm interested in.
So, did you have a good time?
I did. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
And I think we did as well. So
Great.
thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Can we have a moment to select who's going to win tonight? All right. And we have some winners. The results of the Table Topics and International Speech Contest have been given to me. Second place is a very important position. If for any reason the first place winner cannot compete in the division contest on April 26th in Davenport, that's the division contest, April 26th in Davenport this year, the second place winner can compete. First, the results of the Table Topic contest. The second place winner is Ben. Thank you, Ben. And the first place winner of the Table Topics contest is Stephen Harper. Yo! We do have a winner for the International Speech Contest, and that winner is Seth Bond. Yo! We also have a few certificates to give out. For the speech contest, Don, please come on up. Thank you, Don. Certificate of appreciation to my esteemed colleague, Monty. For certificate of presentation for judges, I'd like to thank Wayne. Thank you so much, Wayne. Kevin Kelly. Will Burns. Thank you. Certificate of appreciation to Dan Craig, another judge. Yay! certificate of appreciation for speech contest for Karen Aoki. And of course for our Chief Judge Art Atkinson. Thank you. And I'd like to also thank Sean for speech contest. Come on up, Sean. And thank you to everyone else who participated tonight. Our ballot counters, Ron Whitaker, Gene Simonton Craig, our esteemed timers, Cindy Trainer and Mike. Thank you so much. We are about to go eat a little more food. Gene, come on up.
No. And we just also would like to thank our contest chair for the evening, Scott Terry.
As president of this club, or come on up.
I want to thank Scott because he pulled everything together. There were some things that were kind of up and down, little bubbles up here and there. And he's done an excellent job tonight being chairman for this contest.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to thank the people who came from far away, out of town, Ben Traxel, who drove 2 hours to get here.
Yeah, Ben.
And our neighboring club, the Ottumwa Toastmasters 63, we have 3 members here, Mike Hauk, Sean White, and Kevin Kelly. Thank you very much. And from the Burlington Club, we have Wayne Ryan,